Okay, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Grown-ups watching Thomas the Train, that TV show for like 5-year-old kids. Yes,
It's called Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas is not a train. A train is what he pulls. Thomas is a tank engine.
there's people older than me. Okay, older than me. They're either in middle school,
Wait, people in middle school are older than you?
high school, or they're out of school altogether, and they still watch. There's a I don't even know how that kid has fans in the first place, but anyways,
Because lots of people like Thomas the Tank Engine.
they were 22 years old and they was a fan of that show, and it's like, okay, you'd rather stick to, and you know what?
Could you just pick a topic and stick with it?
But no, they'd rather just stick to the age. There's this episode of My Strange Addiction where the person, they did not want to grow up. It was like there was a transvestite or something. There was like, I think there was like two cases, but there was a tranny, and
That's not really a nice word to use.
then there was like this guy, and they were dressed up in like a baby outfit, and they did not want to grow up. They just want to be treated like a baby.
Where are you going with this? What does this have to do with Thomas?
And that's who I honestly think of when I see people watching that show. Like,
So, in your mind, people enjoying television that is meant for a younger audience automatically equates to wanting to abandon all parts of adulthood.
I would rather sit down and watch the news. I would rather sit down and watch one of them old crazy reality TV shows, The Real Housewives of the United States, because they just got so many cities. I'd rather watch that show.
I would rather gouge out my eye sockets with scissors than watch any of those shows. However, I believe that you are entitled to your own opinion.
People of my age or older than a show for 3 to 5 year olds. Okay, the time you should stop watching that show is when you turn like 7 or 8.
Actually, I did stop watching Thomas when I was around 7 or 8 because I no longer appreciated it for the reason children do. However, a few years later, I got back into it and began to have a more adult understanding of what the show was and what it meant.
Watch TV shows that's not teaching you your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. You shouldn't be watching Thomas the Train.
You bring up this point a number of times throughout this video. I don't know what era of the show you have seen, but unless you're talking about the absolute dark ages of the series, it does a lot more than just teach you your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s.
Because the kid, no, that Glenn Gregan kid's like 13. I think he's 9.
Well, which is it?
But it was cartoons like SpongeBob, like comedy-based cartoons like SpongeBob, Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes. Like, those are shows that I grew up watching.
Thomas is a show I grew up watching.
But those are shows that anybody, you could be like, honestly, 90 years old or something, still watching those type of cartoons like Looney Tunes. Because if that's something that you grew up watching as a kid, then okay. But those shows, they don't teach you your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s. It's comedy-based shows.
When I was 3 and 4, I used to watch the episodes with my grandmother all the time, and she was enjoying them as much as I was. So if there's really any series that defies an age range, I think it would be Thomas. Which again does not teach you your ABCs or your 1, 2, 3s.
Those are the shows that grown-ups like my age or older should be watching.
I thought you just said that any age group could enjoy those shows.
But if you're 13 or 20, 19, 22, or any other age,
Buddy, those are years, not ages.
you're 40-something years old, and you're still watching that Thomas the Train video, I would not be surprised if you were in prison, okay, for molesting a child.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that's going a little far, a little fast.
Because seriously, you should not be watching that show at an old age, okay? Nobody should, all right? So,
Should nobody be watching it, or should only small children be watching it? You seem to be flip-flopping a lot.
anybody out there watching that show, especially a show like that, it's sad. It's in my eyes, that's sad, okay? So yeah, people,
Why is it sad?
quit watching that show. It ain't going to help you with anything, okay? It's like,
I think it helps you with a lot of things. I think there are lots of strong characters, excellent morals. It's something that transcends an age group.
if you're 22 years old, you shouldn't be watching shows like that. You should be watching the news. You should be watching shows more for your age, all right?
Oh yeah, man, I love The News. The News is my favorite show. I just got season 4 of The News on Blu-ray. Love it.
And people are going to be all like, well, you could be at any age. I mean, it's a free country. You can do what you want. No.
It's a free country. No! Wrong!
They're going to think that you're crazy. They're going to seriously think that you are crazy, mentally insane in the head, okay? You belong in a nut house, all right? You belong somewhere. You belong in one floor of the cuckoo's nest. You belong in a crazy home, okay? End of that discussion.
Oh, are you done listing synonyms for insane asylum? I don't think you've said all of them yet.
Because I grew up, there's this elementary school that I went to, and so they had like these teams, right? So they had like a kindergarten, first grade, they would be in one team, second and third, they would be in another team, and then fourth and fifth would be in like that. They were all in the high floor, so those were the older kids, and they would just separate like that, okay? That's how, once when you're pretty much like 7 or 8, that's when you should stop watching that show.
You really just spent 25 seconds telling us about your school life so you could conclude with the same argument you've been repeating ad nauseum this entire video.
You should not still be watching that show, okay? I grew up as a kid, as a little child. I would rather play that video game than to watch that show. Let me just put it that way.
Your opinion is not objectively correct. You are validating nothing.
Barney or Teletubbies or them Thomas Train shows, you should not be a grown-up.
This is the point in the video when it became crystal clear to me that he has never seen the actual show. I don't understand how you can make a 10-minute long video rambling about a subject you did no research on.
Still watching those shows, okay? So, but especially, and it's like the reason why I focus so much on Thomas the Train, because there's so many people out there that are like fans, and they're my age or even older, or they're at an age where they shouldn't be watching that show. They're fans of that show. How? Understand if it was like an adult comedy based thing and you were doing like adult comedy things like with that show, but if you're just a fan, like, oh my god, I love this train, if you're watching shows like that and you're around my age, or you shouldn't be at an age why, or if you're old enough to where you can understand things, your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and you're still watching that show.
As I stated earlier, older fans have a better appreciation of what the show was than we did when we were children. A 4-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 24-year-old could each watch the same episode and take away a different appreciation from it. Shows like Barney and Teletubbies are only enjoyable to small children. When we get older, we don't appreciate them because there is no substance to them. Thomas is not like this.
Stop. Okay, stop. Because you're going to be in the category as that guy from Subway, where his name, like Jared Fogle or...
I would say that I'm surprised that you didn't simply Google search his name to have the correct information for this video, but since you've done no research on the topic of the video, I'm not really that surprised.
I don't know, but you're going to be in the category as one of him, touching kids and in prison being beaten, okay? So it's just...
Thanks.
You should not be watching those shows. That's just my advice for anybody out there. You should be watching much more mature shows like the news or, you know... The one account that I seen, the person was 22 years old. I'm like, they should be at the movies watching horror movies. They should be watching, you know, comedy movies, you know? You're watching this, and it's like, oh my God, what? That's cringing. In my eyes, that's cringing. Look, grow up. Don't watch shows like that. Grow up, okay? You need to.
I find it incredibly sad and somewhat tragic, really, that someone who is so clearly incapable of understanding that not everyone likes the same thing is the one telling other people to grow up. When you do grow up, you will understand that liking certain TV shows do not make other people inferior.
Really need to. Somebody needs to tell you, okay?
Well, someone just has, and all of his arguments are absolutely terrible.
I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And if you are new, please like and subscribe, and peace.
None of the arguments presented in this video are new or even really that interesting. The reason I chose to talk about this video is because this is such a common mentality among people, it seems to be by far the majority, and I would like to try to explain in as much detail as I can exactly why every point made up in this video is entirely incorrect. Thomas the Tank Engine as a franchise was not designed exclusively for small children. The classic series of the show is written in such a way that anyone from any age could enjoy it. The show is not an attempt to teach young children basic learning skills such as counting and spelling. The show is full of realism, railway terminology, information regarding railways, rich characters, intelligently written stories, and much more. If you actually bothered to watch a single episode of the classic series, I recommend Season 4, you would know this. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. I'm entitled to mine, and you are entitled to yours. The only difference is, I know what I'm talking about.